to get another one of the keys that we're going to need in just a second. Now this room will be more important in the 4th castle, which, like I said before, is a clone of this one. In case there's blocks right there that we were just running across, in there will be the item, the symbol, that we're going to need to collect in that castle. Now here's where things get a little confusing. There's a lot of doors. You want to go to the 2nd door here, climb up here, don't worry about the key door here, instead break the wall, grab the key, don't enter that door. Instead go back to the door that we came from. Once you go back in there, then go into the door just to the left of it. Now in here, your head down, there's only one door to choose, and go in there. And now in this one, move to the right, jump over the lake, and enter the door over here. Now in here, there's 3 key doors that we have access to on the middle floor. You want to just move all the way to the left. If you need a moon item or a health upgrade, just grab it from those blocks as you can see, then head all the way to the left and enter the door. In this room, we're going to have to destroy a couple blocks, headbutt them to get rid of them so that we have an open area, jump on top like the fireplace looking thing, and enter the door at the top. Now in this room, you want to jump on this block to get down, grab the key, as well as the book. That is the symbol item that we needed to collect in here, the symbol of knowledge. Then you want to do a jump up here, which will take a couple jumps to get the momentum going. And then break through and head down to this door to complete the 2nd castle. Now with the 2nd castle complete, we've completed both castles on the top, the overworld, I guess you could call it. And now we need to head into the underground area. As you can see, when I entered the pit there, the background changed to a brick green, as well as the locate number changed from the 1 to the 2, but it's still the letter Q. We now have a long trek all the way to the left, where we're going to run into our next castle. The letter that we have to get to is H. It's actually kind of in the middle between G and H. The underground area is much more treacherous to deal with. The platforming is definitely tougher than the overworld part. As you make your way through it, be careful of the jumps, especially obviously over the water areas, so that you don't fall in and lose a life. You only have 1 life in the game, but thankfully you're going to respawn when you come back into it close to where you were when you did lose a life. I am not positive if there's a limit on the amount of continues you have. I don't think there is. If someone knows if there is a limit, go ahead and please inform me, but I don't think there is a limit on the amount of times that you can just start back up and continue from where you left off. Now, the most obnoxious thing about this game, and I haven't mentioned it until now, because we're actually about halfway through the game already, but the most obnoxious thing easily is that you can't complete the game by completing it once. When we do beat the game this time, you're going to see the bad ending. The ending being an early NES title, most of the endings were pretty dull. We're just going to get a black screen with our main character and then some text. The text is pretty much going to tell us that we didn't do a good enough job in order to complete the game. Now, in some of the games, depending upon what ending you would get, was based on the amount of points, or items, or side quests, or whatever it was, that would garner the difference in the ending that you would receive for completing the game. However, in this game, as well as a few others, it's determined by the amount of times you complete the game. And since there is no save password system, you have to complete this game multiple times in one sitting. You have to complete it 4 times all the way through, no difference in the game whatsoever, in order to get the best ending, the more, I guess the proper ending of the game. Now right here is definitely a pain trying to get in here, trying to spring off those blocks, and take several attempts, because you have to jump up to the spring, and then when you fall down, jump again, and do a double jump off the wall. You have to do that several times to get enough momentum to send you over the wall. That is easily one of the hardest platforming areas. Once you get past that, we now enter the next castle, which is a repeat from castle number 1. The background's a different color, and there is a lot more enemies to contend with. The symbol that we need to collect is in a different place, as well as we will now fight a dragon instead of the praying mantis enemy, but the whole layout is exactly the same. So to get the best ending, you have to complete the game 4 times in one sitting, which is completely, obnoxious to have to go through all that just to get the best ending. And as you would expect with an NES title that was an older NES title, by completing it 4 times in one sitting, you're not really rewarded with anything special. You're given the same basic ending, just with a little bit different text. Now, in this run, I'm only showing the bad ending by completing the game once, but I will show you the good ending as well. I'll show them both in the run. I'm just not gonna run through the game 4 times and show it all, because there is no difference in the game. Your score that you have stays over as long as you don't lose a life. When you do lose a life in the game, your score goes back to nothing, and you have to build that score back up. But the score affects nothing other than your, your pride of getting a high score. The weird thing about the score thing is it maxes out. Now, you would think it would max out at all 9s. 9 straight across would make sense of where it would max out. But what happens is, it goes up to 99 billion, and then it goes 999 million, 999,000, but then when it gets down to the hundreds, it just goes 900. The last 2 spots, the bottom 2 spots, the 10s and 1s place, are still zeros. I don't know why exactly the programming worked that way. Usually when you max out a score, you would think it would either go all 9s or reset back to 0, but it freezes on that as the max score that you can possibly obtain in a game. Now, something I didn't get in the first run in this castle, but I'm showing off now, is the SOS item. I just got it from that wall. The SOS item is going to save you if you accidentally land in water. You'll kind of be catapulted out of the water if you land in it with the SOS item, and it'll save you 1 time and then it disappears. A very useful item, especially in your first couple of attempts playing the game. As you've already noticed, this dungeon is exactly the same like I previously mentioned, so my path is pretty much exactly the same. The only thing that really changes is that I have to get the key item in a different spot, but once you know where that is, it's pretty simple. So you can see that completing the game 4 times in one sitting would be very monotonous and very boring, at least in games that have something similar to that, like Bubble Bobble, where you have to play the game multiple times for the true ending. At least Super Bubble Bobble mode is slightly different. There's different enemy placements in certain rooms and some different color schemes, so at least it changes up a little bit. When you have to play this game multiple times, especially when there's already 2 castles that are pretty much the exact same, you're really playing the game kind of maybe like 8 times instead of 4 times. Now, in this castle, the symbol that we're grabbing is the symbol of family. It looks like kind of a smiley face, but it has 3 lines on the top of it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to kind of be some Japanese symbol, but just kind of a weird overall symbol. The location of which is actually in the exact same spot as the one from Castle 1. So that's not even different in this one. In Castle 4, the placement of the item that we have to get is different. That one is different. I do apologize if I made it seem like they were both different, but no, this one is the exact same spot it was in Castle 1. Once we now have the symbol of family, we can exit out of this castle. Same spot as before, break the block underneath the chandelier and enter this door to take us back to the underground overworld map, or whatever you want to call the main map of the game. Now we are in 2-G, and now we're going to have to get to 2-A to find the 4th and final castle. We'll have to go through some more, rather tough platforming, or decently tough platforming, at least somewhat of a challenge, to get to that location. The most annoying enemy, not a surprise as in most games, it's definitely the bats, since they do kind of home in on you, have a different pattern, and can usually hit you. Sometimes, even though it looks like they may miss, the hit detection will say they actually clipped you. Now here's one of the tough parts again, similar to what we had earlier. You have to do a double jump. You have to jump up and then jump up again, and you have to do that several times in order to get enough momentum to get enough height to go over that wall. We'll have to do another one similar here. Gotta get enough momentum to get up over the wall and then get down here. Now be careful on the spring. You want to land on the solid platform and then run across and make the jump. Trying to do the spring will most likely just bang your head against the ceiling and you'll fall into the water. Now when we get to this part in 2B, we see a series of big arrows that we have to destroy the bottom part of it to break the blocks in order to get through. Once we get past them, we find the fourth and final castle, and enter it for our last dungeon in the game. Now our path is the same that we took in the other one, and I did mention the location of that symbol that we have to get in this one while doing my run of that second dungeon, but that'll be the only difference in terms of it. We'll still enter the same doors and same maze little type area at the end of it where we have to enter certain doors only. You can take different paths